All right, hello. Hello, happy evening, happy Monday. Oh, we almost made it entirely through Monday today, so hi everybody, thank you for hanging out with me tonight. You can see I've got actually two paintings on my board right now, not painting them at the same time, but these are things potentially to wrap up tonight. Both paintings that I've worked on stream, this one pretty much entirely, and they're both very much almost done, and it's at the point of just doing some kind of fussy sort of wrap up details, and then they're finished and they can be varnished and all that kind of fun stuff. I always paint the edges of the canvas. Right now they're just the gessoed canvas, so I'll finish those off, and then I can get a layer of medium and varnish on it to cure up real nice, and they'll be, yeah, completely finished. Oh, and I'll have to remember to sign them. You know, details. I'm really terrible at remembering to do that sometimes, but yeah. So here's what my intentions are for what I want to accomplish on this piece, which I think I will do probably last. I want to do a little glazing on the figure to have her be a little less cool toned. I used a lot of purple when I painted her, and I want to balance that a little bit. So that's the main thing, and I'm going to add a few small little bits of detailed shadow in a couple areas on flowers here. That's really it for her. And for this one, it's a pretty simple one too, and that is to fix this area right here. The shadow there just makes it look like it's all going back. It looks like her shoulder is just convex. So I need to kind of adjust it so that clear shadow and, you know, give it the shape where the light's hitting it and it doesn't read so flat. So that was something that just came up by what I was doing before. The more other things that I add, the more the areas that I painted kind of loosely and didn't really develop strongly. A couple little spots there that became a problem. So this is a starting point. I don't think that will take a terribly long time to do on either of them. So we'll see how it goes. I did my initial painting, so the entire character of Frida was done with a very limited palette. So it'll be white, yellow oxide, I have my naphtha red, and Payne's gray. That's it. That's what I did, outside of going back in after the fact and painting the little pink circles on her blouse and drawing things around her afterwards. That's it. So get some paint down here and try not to go crazy because it's not a huge amount of space I need to cover with these colors. So trying to be reasonable in the paint usage. I've been talking for weeks now about intending to go and buy some painting supplies. And I'm finally planning a trip to Blick tomorrow. So, because I know I have to go there tomorrow because there's something I absolutely have to have right away, I use it as an excuse to go through and kind of take inventory of what I have and what I think I would potentially need. So the only thing that throws me off there is I'm not as bad of shape with my paints as I thought I might be, because I do have some backups. The tubes just look different even though it's the same color, you know, something dumb like that. So my brain just skips over it. Dried on paint. But the question is what I want to do next. Because I could go back and do a watercolor again, like a watercolor and collage piece, which I haven't done for quite a while. So that could be nice to go back to. My other thought is to go to do some really large painting. I have multiple canvases that are 36 by 48 inches. 3 of them that I've had for a while, ready to be used. And beyond that, I also... Come on, clean up that a little bit. I also have another... Oh gosh, what size would it be? Probably about a 24 by 32 inch piece of wood that was a cutting board. A 2-inch cutting board, has handles on the ends. It's really thick, but it has a crack in it, so it doesn't work for using it as a cutting board anymore, but I would finish it to be used as a painting surface, which would be pretty simple to do, but that's... And the point of all saying that is that if I were going to work on the really big canvases, I need to rethink how I'm going to have my paints, because tubes like this size, my little, 2 ounce, I have some 2 ounce and 5 ounce paint tubes, mostly 2 ounce ones, outside of some of my basics. I probably would need more paint. So that's something that I probably need to figure out, like, right away. So that's the trick. Trying to decide what I'm doing next before I leave the house tomorrow in the morning. So we'll see. We'll see. See if something brilliant comes to me or not. Oh. Paint tube on the ground. There, that took me 7 minutes to drop a thing, so that might be a record? Maybe. Anyway. Alright. So here, I might just add a little darker shadow spot there. Let's me start pulling some of my colors to mix. Even though I can remember and even just see that I worked with a very limited paint palette on this piece, like, you still have to mix the right blend to get what you need. The right combination of colors. And it can't be too pink. So that's pretty close to my highlight there. And I'm going to bring the highlight up a little higher on the arm. Yeah, getting messy already. Okay. So that the shadow that's being cast by the shirt is a little bit more contained. And really the brightest highlight should not be on the very edge. It would be kind of in the center of the arm. Kind of like there. This weekend I went into the city, into Chicago, to meet up with a friend for a craft fair, a holiday craft fair. There was one we hadn't gone to before, so it was kind of fun to check out something new, see if you catch any new makers and new artists that you hadn't seen stuff from before. That's kind of the fun of it. It was a little, like, about equally half arts and vintage stuff. That was a fun thing to do. Walk around and see try to look for things that could potentially be gifts. Trying to get the Christmas shopping going or done, or close to it at least, preferably. I think I can go a little darker with my shadow. That was too yellow. On the palette it looks too pink or too red, but that might be somewhat appropriate there. So I'm trying to get the right balance here between shadow and where what goes. I might have overcompensated there. A little better. We're getting there. We're getting there. Almost. Very close. All right, I think that let's see here. And I'd probably like almost over fussing about it. It doesn't need to even be like as particular as what I'm going in and changing, but as long as I'm in there. as long as I'm doing it. Okay, so a little bit of highlight added onto the shirt because that's still a little flat, and then we just might have it. So let's see. And really on the shirt, in the reds, the highlight is just the red. I just added shades to it. So to make the bright part look a little brighter, I gotta make the dark part look a little darker. Okay. I think that'll do it. Just about. A little too dark there compared to everything else. All right. Right. I think that'll do. I think that can be it for this one. That was easy enough. And we can say one down. All right. Clean up that brush a bit because I don't think I'm going to need it anymore for the painting that's a little bit smaller. And let's switch to this guy. Swap them out. Hopefully don't knock into that one while it's still got wet paint on it. Okay, I'm going to adjust the camera a little bit so that this can fill the space a little bit more. There we go. And here's a really funny thing. Whoa, okay, hold on. I got it. I got it. Everybody pointed out to me these two paintings. Let me grab the other one again real quick. This is something that I did not plan or do deliberately. It just sort of happened. So we got pink going on the base here, which is actually underpainting showing through. And pink on the bottom of this one. And I don't no particular specific meaning about it, at least not in a way that I'm particularly cognizant of. And actually, I can zoom in a little bit more because I'm going to be working on the figure. So let me adjust this so that that's what we see. It looks a little bit out of focus, and I can check on that. Oh, yeah. There we go. Yep, there we are. Light over one more. Okay, that should do us. I'm just pushing it over, so hopefully I'm not standing in front of the canvas very much while I'm working on it. Okay, so I need, for what I want to do up here, a much smaller brush. Number 2 filbert. Yeah, number 3 or 4 filberts are on my list for brushes that I would like to purchase. Or flat, one or the other. Just that size, like a little bit bigger than this, but not that big. In between, I need in between for my flats. Flats or filbert. So that's something I don't actually have at the moment. Okay, so I'll start with what I have already on the canvas, and I might be able to just work with the things I have here. We'll see. Okay. So I just have a couple little things I want to pull out by adding some more shadow back in. I have these little, like, skull kind of guys that are hiding in the flowers. Need them to be super obvious, but just maybe a little bit more than they were. I still want them to kind of look like they're coming out of the shadow there. Do something that you don't like when it comes to acrylic paint. You need to get at it immediately because it dries fast. Crazy fast. And then you can't do anything to change it other than paint it, try to paint it back in if you've lost it. Really getting in the tiny spots here. Oh, I don't know if you heard that. That was upstairs. Neighbor was bumping around. One thing about having gone into yesterday to see a craft fair in the city in Chicago, we met up at a cafe that was called Sip of Hope, and it was a coffee shop that's run by the organization Hope for the Day. So like when you see the like the phrase "It's okay not to be okay," that's theirs. That's their line. So it was really neat to be there. They have some cool artwork. They sell like some shirts and different gear, and all of the money benefits the cause that they have that's to fight to like help those that are struggling combat going again. Like what my words are escaping me today. It's basically to help people who are struggling in the being like suicidal. It's education, awareness, and all things to help people. It's a really good cause. So if you're in the city and you're looking for a good place to stop for coffee, I would recommend them. I'm a big time coffee drinker. I probably drink way too much. But I do love it, and if you can support a good cause on top of that, bonus, right? I actually made, like I have been doing for my Monday streams, actually made a cup of tea today. Which, forgot about. It's probably getting cold on me. Think I'm at a big enough cup. Still hot. It's herbal tea. It's very comforting. Very cinnamony. Okay. So, step back, take a little peek at things, how do you feel about it? Oops, my watch yelling at me because I didn't move enough today. Well, it's just how it goes sometimes. Working on blogs and editing videos and stuff doesn't tend to have a lot of like physical movement when you're working on those. So not the most helpful when it comes to trying to meet a move goal for the day. So it is what it is. You do the best you can, right? Some days go all right in that regard for taking care of yourself, some days not so much. And I always mean to be doing more physical activity. Like, I do actually like yoga as an option because it's easy to do at home, not weather dependent at all. And something that just tends to feel kind of, you know, soothing. But I have not been good at it recently. Recently. It's been more than just recently. Need to get back to taking better care. I have been like very purposefully trying to eat better. That always feels like a whole thing that's shouldn't be so difficult, but it's like too easy to just get sucked into, oh, it's just busy. I don't care, or just falls off the priority list. But like, caring for ourselves and our bodies should not be negotiable items on our to-do list. So, trying to do better. It's also not getting any younger, right? Like to keep making art and showing up here and being just like a weirdo out in the YouTubes all by myself for as long as I can. Ideally. And I actually think I'm gonna paint back in a few little spots too, where maybe there's just a little bit too much black, possibly. Possibly. Alright, we're just about there with the headpiece stuff. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with that. So then it's gonna be adding a little glazing to the figure. And I'd like to do some warmer tones, like in the yellow, like the gold to orange area. And to do that, I need some medium. What do we want? I don't think that well, yeah, maybe I will use my slow dry medium here. Just for the added benefit of being able to work with it. Let's see. That on the palette. Don't need a ton, I don't think. All right. Don't leave your stuff without the tops on and the caps. You don't need it drying out. Things are expensive enough as they are. Okay, I'm going to use a flat head or a flat brush to work with this. So because I'm going to do a glaze, I'm not adding any white to it. Just mostly some yellow oxide thinned down. A tiny bit of red in there. And because I have the slow dry medium, I can kind of work with it on my figure before it dries. Blend it in a little bit. Oh, I saw an interesting movie. Was it yesterday? I guess it was last night. Put it on. It was kind of a sci-fi thriller-ish, science fiction-y kind of thriller, maybe some horror-ish kind of bit. But I would describe it. It's called Birth Rebirth. It's on Shudder. And I would explain it as, like if somebody tried to make actual serious Reanimator movie, this was a female-centric one. It didn't have any of the humor that Reanimator has. It was, like, sad and kind of messed up in parts, and so that was an interesting. I actually thought it was quite well done. The acting was good. I thought quite good. There's a young girl that is a very integral part of the story, and probably like terrible guessing ages, but 7 maybe? Somewhere in like the 6 to 8 range maybe? Probably closer to 6. And she does a really great job of what she has to do. And the 2 female leads are outstanding. I thought really do a good job. It's really a lot of WTF moments, but not necessarily in like a super horrific way. But there is elements of they both work in a hospital. There's shots in a morgue, or so if you find that sort of thing to be disturbing and upsetting, then maybe not watch that. But it just raised some interesting like points about science, like what it should or can or should do, what grief will make a person do, love even. And it's asking each of the main characters kind of represents one of those things. One of them is the question about scientific, like ethical questions, and then the other one kind of represents the things that you would do out of love questions. And I thought it was good. It's a smaller scale film, small cast, but yeah. Especially if you're somebody who's seen Reanimator at any point in time and found that, I mean, Reanimator is like horror comedy. This was not comedy at all, and a little bit more science fiction, but yeah, I would recommend it. Other than that, there's not much that I've watched recently. I don't think. It's just been really busy. I felt like the last 2 weeks I've been really behind and kind of struggling with that, but trying to not let it overwhelm me. Which I did a better job than I probably normally would have. So, hey, shout out to my therapist. But yeah, this week is kind of a little bit more back to normal work week for me, so I should have the opportunity to get things in a good place. I'm trying to let there be a little bit more of like a rosy tint around her face. Mostly we want to make her look more alive. A little more alive. I'm just continuing to add some more layers of the glazing. Oh, no, I can tell you something I saw this weekend, the first time this last week. Would you believe that I'd never actually seen the movie Planes, Trains, and Automobiles before? I truly had not ever seen it before this last weekend. No particular reason, just hadn't really come up. And when I watched that movie, The Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, it reminded me of, at first I just found it irritating. But by the end of it, it reminded me of a friendship that I made back when I was in junior high. What do they call it? Middle school now? I think they just call it middle school now. I don't know if that's, I don't know what it means. But a friend, who, at the beginning of our friendship, we actually kind of hated each other. In fact, walking home from school, she'd often try and sneak up behind me and jump me, except that I was stronger than her, so there would always be this ridiculous kind of almost brawl of 12, 13-year-old girls. And then one day, I invited her over to my house. I think almost out of exasperation. And lo and behold, we ended up becoming extremely close friends. So it made me think of that by the end of the movie. So that was kind of heartwarming, I guess, in that sense. Sometimes you just have to actually get to know a person in a different way before you can really judge or understand them. I do like that color better so far. I think I might blend a little color to go and become sort of some shadows too, to help with that. Just get this nice and thin, this other darker color. And work that into some spots too. That might take a few layers as well. We'll see. I'll make some tweaks and adjustments to it as I go. Alright, I'm gonna go a little darker, even kind of control a few of the shadow areas a little bit more. I liked some of that really intense pink showing through there, but I think it was just too much, and it was a little flattening in terms of being like a not quite reading as a reflected shadow, maybe not as much as I would want it to. So allow that to be neutralized a little bit. Okay. Just a little kind of tweaking maybe to go here. I'm really close. Close to feeling pretty good about it. I'm gonna switch to a slightly smaller brush at this point though. Again. Let's see. I think this will work. One smaller. Just some little things to make adjustments on. And I'm actually going a little bit more opaque in my paint here, just because I kind of get to a point where the glaze is just sort of removing itself as you're painting it on. Now that got a little too light, but it's okay because I just needed to even it out a little bit so that I could make some more adjustments there. Too light. That crease got a little too intense there. Okay. Now as that dries, you can kind of go back in and adjust it again. Too dark over here. All right, so the question is, do I want this to stay this dark? I'm going to add a little bit more of a shadow back in a couple areas, and then that adjustment should give me a better idea of where I may want it to be, if that's good or not. As long as I think about it, sip of tea. It's good to stay hydrated, even when you're just painting. Good stuff. Very cinnamony. I like it. Okay, what am I doing? we dry. Ever so slightly a little tacky there. But in the meanwhile, one thing as I'm kind of painting in, losing a couple little spots of things happening here. So I can paint back in some of those details a little bit. All right. Okay, I think everything is good and dry now. So, mix my darkest tone for the flesh tone here. Trying to figure out the right balance of pinkiness to warmth. That feels a little too red. Nope, not there yet. Okay. Okay. One step forward, 2 step back, or 2 steps forward, 1 step back, something. Unless progress. All right. a bit more, replacing what I covered up again. I need to replace a little bit of green, which I don't have on my palette, so I'm just gonna... Yeah.
Second thing dropped today.
Well, no. It's not the worst. Okay. Here's the line that I had here. I should do it for the green. And maybe just a touch more. What did I... I think that almost does it. Let me kind of pull out here so we can see the whole thing together. There it is. She still leans a little, you know, pink to purple, but not as drastically. There's a little bit more life in her skin tone. So I think I'm most happy with it. Yeah, this little piece coming through there was acting like a weird barrier for the color that wasn't for me. As long as I have a little bit of this color mixed. Getting paint all over myself even. It's a good night when that happens. Palette is an absolute disaster right now. Hi, Mary Beth. Just see you there. I am kind of just doing some last little details to really bring it to where I think I need it to be to feel done with it. And I'm really, I think, really close to it. All right, let's see. Really, really, really close. How many times can I say that? And at which point will I mean it? I really am in the fussing stage right now. So for any time that I think I'm trying to exercise being a little looser in my approach, you know, sometimes it works so all right. The sound is odd, almost like an echo, but not. I can hear your music is good. Huh. I'm not sure why it is. Adjust my mic position, maybe? Hopefully that helps a little bit. I'll have to listen back in after the fact and try to see if I can figure out what the deal is. You know, you spend a lot of time fussing around with trying to get it right, and you're like, hands off, don't ever touch it again, and then somehow things still get goofy at some point. despite your best intentions, but that's just how it goes. So I will listen back and see if I can pinpoint what's going on after at least the levels seem to be normal. Yeah, just tech, good old tech stuff. It never fails. Oh, I know what I was thinking. I'm not sure if it's a connection. It looks like I might be, really chugging here. So it's probably my end. Oh. I need to do some back-end work here. Clearly, my connection, I don't think, is doing great. Oh, my kilobytes have really dropped off. Oh my gosh. What is happening? I'm really sorry, guys. I don't know why I'm having all these issues with my connection right now. But to be honest, this is probably, if you can hear me, a good time to call it, because it seems like it's really falling apart here. And I don't know if you can hear me, so I'm going to put it in the chat. Looks like my connection's just dropping. Probably a good time to call it. Oh, well, that's frustrating, guys. I'm sorry. If you can still hear me, wow. If you can still hear me, we'll pick it up. We will pick this up. I will do some back-end work and try to figure out what's happening, why I'm getting such bad rates, why I'm dropping so many frames. But I think that I'm going to have to just call it a night here and hopefully get it better for next time, Thursday morning. So, I'm sorry. Good night, I guess.